Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. So today we're going to do the Draw My Life challenge or Draw My Relationship. So we're going to start out with Juan just because he is older and it will be a little bit easier for us to start out with him. So go ahead, take it from the top, baby.
All right, thank you. All right, so I was born in Mexico. It's a weird map of Mexico, and I was actually born in the state of Jalisco. And the city of Guadalajara, which is actually the second capital of Mexico. The first one is Mexico City. Anyway, when when I was about 3 years old, we moved from one side of Mexico, and there's my map again. I was born in Guadalajara, like I said, and we actually moved to Sonora, and which is right across the border from Arizona. And we lived there for about 8 years. After that, my mom actually talked to my dad about us moving to the U.S. and actually for to move there for a better life, of course. And at first they were thinking Arizona, but we actually don't we only have one relative there. And we have multiple relatives in Oregon and Washington, so from
Is that the United States?
yeah. So from Sonora we actually moved to the state of Washington. Excuse me. And we lived there for about 6 months. We went to school there. After that, they actually found another place in Oregon, so we moved to Oregon, and we've been living here ever since. When I was a kid in my summer times, I would actually help my dad work in the orchards because they would allow kids help their parents and everything. And I would actually make extra money, which was really good money. And I gotta admit, like my dad, I mean, he was actually a little bit hard on me and trying to. I mean, I was only like probably like 11 or something. Like he was expecting me to do the same work as him. I mean, which was impossible, but I guess I don't know if he did it to encourage me or whatever. But and so anyway, we went to school in Oregon, and we actually went to school also in. Well, we went to school first in Washington, and I actually went to school there for about 6 months. And I actually learned quite a bit of English in a short period of time. And when we moved to Oregon, I actually kind of was pretty much stuck in the same level. I personally think that in Washington I have better teachers. But anyway, so it took me about a year probably to be fluent in English and Spanish. Well, I mean, Spanish I knew it in the beginning, but so after leaving and still living in Oregon for a long time, I actually started working at fast food restaurant first at the age of 16. And I was actually working there for about a year and a half, and I really liked the job. I met so many, a lot of friends that I still keep in touch till this day. After that, I had other jobs like working at a fuel station, and after this job, actually, I worked for a very long time. After having working at so many other jobs, I just decided to apply to this big company, which is a vegan company, and that's where I met my now brother-in-law. That's why I met Adam, my now brother-in-law. We used to be friends. We hung out a few times. We used to just we literally worked together at this one machine, and I actually showed him how to run the machine, and then he was the one helping me out. And Adam actually, most of the time, he would talk about his family, but he would actually talk more about his sister and how nice of a person she is and cool. And so after that, I was like, huh, you actually have sisters? And he's like, yeah, I have 3 sisters. And, he would tell me all about his sisters, and especially my wife. So I was kind of like, like I should probably hit her up. And so after a while, I get on my computer and search on Facebook, and I search for my coworker's sister.
With his no eyes, he's searching.
Yeah. And so I sent her a friend request, and I was pretty much waiting for the approval. And I'm now gonna let my wife take over this.
So I grew up in California. I was born in Fresno, and when I was 4 years old, my family decided to move to Oregon. So we moved to Oregon, and it was actually a really sad time for us because at that time, my dad stayed down here in California, and my mom and all of us kids moved up here to Oregon. So my parents had split up, and we had no idea when we were ever going to see my dad again. When we moved to Oregon, my 2 cousins that we were going to be living with and my aunt met us outside the house, and they came over to say hi to us, and we're super excited that we were there at the house. They didn't have spiky hair, but they do in this drawing. So they kind of cheered us up a little bit. We were sad, crying, but still happy. And we lived in my aunt's house for probably, I don't know, I want to say 5 or 6 months. And then my mom one day found her own apartment, and so it was pretty cool. And we were all super happy that we finally had our own place to live in because it was kind of a little hard to live there. So my mom found her own apartment. We moved into our own apartment. And by this time, after moving and everything like that, we were all wondering when was our dad going to come. We had no idea that they were like really, I mean, I think my brothers did just because they were older, that they were split up and stuff. So in 1998, that's when my dad came over to Oregon. So at that time, we were all really, really happy. My dad was living with us. He was working for a store in our local area. I don't know what I just drew there. He was working for a store in our local area, but he always worked at night. And so we hardly ever seen him, just because he was always gone at night. And so we were all still pretty sad, but happy that our dad was around. And then a few years later, my dad started working for a towing company. I don't know how to draw a tow truck. I should know how to draw one because he's worked there for like ever. But either way, he started working for a towing company, and that's when things started changing. We bought a really big house, and we moved up to another city that was still in Oregon, but it was only like maybe 5 or 6 miles from where we used to live. So it wasn't too bad. And then we started to get homeschooled, and that was kind of just like a rough time in our lives. And I actually hated being homeschooled. I always was begging my mom to please let me go to public school. But this answer was always the same: no. And so, yeah, I was always trying to do different things to try to get out of being at school. I wanted to just anything possible to get out of school. I tried it. So one day, it was sometime in February of 2009. I don't know why my camera just zoomed in. I asked my mom if I can go to public school. And she finally said yes. And I was so overjoyed. I almost started crying from how happy I was. And so I went to the high school, and I had to take a test, which was not cool. And they said that I passed. And I was really, really happy. I was so overjoyed that I passed, and so things were going to be great. But they also told me that I was going to be 1 grade behind. And I was like, no, that's not going to happen. And so they told me that I had actually scored in college level classes, and I was on the verge of turning 16, and that I was going to have to be a freshman because I had 0 credits, and I was supposed to be a junior or a sophomore. So I was like, no way, no how. I'd rather go to college and try that out instead. And so I went to the college. The college is like really, really big. Has like 4 stories. And I had to take a test there at the college again. This one was actually on a computer. And so here I was taking this test on a computer. And I was really, really scared. This is supposed to be my nervousness coming out. But when I was all done, they said, "Congrats, you passed." And I was in an entry-level college course. And at this time, I was still only 15. And they said, "Sorry, you can't come here until you're 16. And I was like, what? And so I was pretty upset. But I turned 16 in only just 2 months. So I figured, okay, well, I guess I can join in spring. So in spring of 2009, I don't know why I don't keep drawing the 9. I was going to college for full time, taking 12 credits, and I was feeling like I was on top of the world. I was so excited, and but I did struggle a lot because I had been homeschooled for so long, and I don't know, it was just a really difficult time. So when I was 18 years old, my parents finally let me get my first car, and I was super excited. Or my driver's license, I should say. And my first car was actually my dad's car. So I got my driver's license and had that mumbo jumbo done. And I also got my first job. And I was working for a pizza place. I loved that job. I still love that pizza place to this day, and I still go in there. Sometimes they're actually not open right now, but either way. So I decided when I was almost 19 that I wanted to work somewhere else. I was tired of working in fast food. I just was like, so over it. So I just started working at a gym. And I took care of a bunch of kids, different ages, even babies. It was fun. And plus, I got free membership. And while I was working at the gym, my brother, he started talking about one of his friends. And I was like, ooh, who's this guy? That's so cool. He sounds like fun. So one day, I was on Facebook. And I was on my phone, actually. So I was just hanging out with some friends, stuff like that. And my brother was there. I think that he was sitting on a couch watching a movie and texting his girlfriend. And there's supposed to be a TV. So I said, oh, who's this? Because I noticed that they were mutual friends. And he says, oh, that's Juan. And I was like, ooh, is this your cool friend? And he's like, yeah. And I was like, And he's like, don't accept him. And I was like, why? And he's like, because he didn't want me to be friends with his friends. And so he started to run after me, and I turned around the other way and ran, and I accepted the friend request. And that's kind of just where the story of us comes into place. We started hanging out. First I asked him if he liked Tech 9, and he was like, no. And I was like, oh. And so, here I am drawing people with no heads. So that was kind of like weird, because then I was like, should I just go this way and never talk to him again? But I think that he was kind of thinking like, oh, maybe I should chase after her. And so, we went out on our first date, and our first date we went to see a movie, and we went to dinner at IHOP. So the first movie that we seen was 21 and Over, and we went to dinner at IHOP, and we had a lot of fun. This is, I think, supposed to be us. I'm not sure. Us and someone else. Some tag along that wasn't really tag along.
Some popcorn.
This is popcorn?
In the middle.
Oh.
Yeah.
Why do you have a ponytail? He did not have a ponytail. I don't know. This is. I don't know.
I have a lot of hair.
We look like the Peanuts characters. So after our movie and that, we just went home and went our separate ways. So it was probably like 2 days later. I was in my room sitting on my bed, and just playing on my phone. I think I was on Facebook actually, and I don't know what Juan was doing, but all of a sudden I got a text and it said, "Want to hang out again?" And I was like, And I was like, I'm bored. Sure. So that was kind of like the start of everything. And after 3 months of us dating, that's supposed to say 3, not 30 months. We had been dating for 3 months. We had been going like crazy. We had been going to concerts. We had been just going out all the time in his car. And then I don't think we'd gone to Maroon 5 and Kelly Clarkson yet.
Oh, yeah.
We had just been hanging out. We went to go to see the Summer Jam concert, which was like tons and tons of different singers. We got to see 2 Chainz, T.I., I don't even remember who else. There was so many.
J. Cole.
But just so much fun we kept having. We were kind of wild. I was only 20 at the time, and he was actually old as hell. I'm just kidding. He was 25. And so after those 3 months, we found out that I was pregnant. We went to the doctor's office, and the doctor confirmed that we were pregnant. Is that the baby?
Mm-hmm.
But it was not good. There was no heartbeat, and so we were really, really sad about that. We already knew that I had infertility, and so it was going to be a long process and different things that we were going through. So after that, we kind of just didn't really know where to go in our lives and our relationship. We just were both really, really, really sad. And he's drawing pictures and putting them in. We just kind of were divided, and we didn't know whether we were going to be together anymore. We just weren't in a good spot in our relationship in the first place. But things worked out better, and we decided to get back together and be happy. And so one day we were hanging out, and we went to a Maroon 5 concert. And Kelly Clarkson was there too. And so we were hanging out, just having a bunch of fun, seeing Adam Levine, who's super cute. I guess that's him. And I'm saying that he's cute. So, anyways, we were hanging out, having fun and stuff like that. And about 2 weeks later, we were both just sitting there watching movies at his house. And I just wasn't feeling well. And I was just like, bleh. And he asked me, do you think that you're pregnant? It's supposed to be a pregnancy test. Prego. And I said, no. Why would you think that? He says, I don't know. So we decided to go to the doctor's office, and yes, I was pregnant. And so we were super duper duper happy, but also very, very scared. We had no idea what was going to happen. What's it called? I was just kind of scared, different things like that. So this is, I guess, when I told him that I was pregnant. Mm-hmm. And he kind of just knew. He was really, really happy. But we were just really scared and different things like that. So let me see. I'm going to have to draw on the back of this paper because I ran out of paper. So in November of 2013, Juan asked me if I would marry him. And I, of course, said yes. And I was super duper duper shocked. I just didn't even know where this ever came from. I'm just kidding. We had already talked about getting married before, but we just wanted to wait a while. But since we're having a baby, I guess we wanted to get married faster. So, we got married on December 21st, 2013, and I just wrote almost 2017. And I was 9 weeks pregnant. So we actually got married at a super tiny little restaurant. And I guess I should draw myself in a dress, but I was also pregnant. And yeah, that was just kind of us for a while. And in June of 2014, that is when we had our little girl. And so we've just now been a family of 3, living happily ever after.
Before.
This is before. And different things like that. Not everything has always been the best. Sometimes there's been good times, and sometimes there's been bad. And, you know, it's always just a different course of life. There's supposed to be a scale. Should I do it like that? But we've made it work, and now we've been together almost 4 years, and it's still just the 3 of us. And we hope, I guess we all have long hair too. We hope that everything stays good for everybody and everything, and I just really don't know what to write about anymore. But that's it, guys. I hope that you like this. Juan the tow truck driver too. I hope that you guys like this video. We will be doing an updated version of this sometime soon. We couldn't find any whiteboards anywhere, but anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys later. Bye.